Started. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Blackout Test Podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
and we are here for a feedback episode on a Saturday morning, ready to talk about the things that you had to say. It's probably going to be a short one because we only had 2 episodes this week, which one of them was a feedback show. So, I don't anticipate us being here too long, but we're booked and busy. We got a lot of stuff to do this weekend and all that. So be on the lookout for podcast appearances. Last week on Keith and the Girl,
Movie reviews,
the wig cap on What's the Tea with Nick and Reg. Of course, our own spinoff shows, pregame, Balls Deep Sports, movie reviews. We're going to see another movie today, so we'll be doing reviews of that. Like, it's a lot out there, so be on the lookout for Rod and Karen everywhere, all over the globe. The official weapon of the show is
taser,
an unofficial sport,
what about
and bullet ball extreme. And I'm actually really excited because I was just listening to it before we started the show, but De La Soul is on streaming services now. Like
the whole everything, the whole shabam, not just bits and pieces, y'all.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite groups, and Balloon Mind State and Stakes is High, 2 of my favorite albums of all time. I'm not that big into 3 Feet High and Rising. I don't know how. I don't know why either. Like, you think I would be, but I don't know. I just somehow that one was the one I didn't get into, but then I loved the shit after that. And I love Grind Date as well, but it just, man, like Balloon Mind State is the album that I like bought, had the CD, tape, all that shit, downloaded it, and would actually move it over to my Spotify on my own through the complicated means of having it on my computer and then downloading it to my phone. Every time I got a new phone, every time I had to do a new update to Spotify, I would make sure to put those 2 albums on there, Stakes is High, Balloon Mind State, and it feels good to not have to do that anymore. And rest in peace to Dave Plug 2, man, because he didn't live to see this, and it's just so
and they have been in the process and fighting for this for a very long time.
Right, it's infuriating to think about how long they spent fighting to get their stuff on streaming, to get their money, to get their royalties and shit. And it feels almost like with Jackie Robinson, where it's like metaphorically, obviously not knowing any specifics, metaphorically, it's like, how much does a fight like that take out of a person? And Pasta Noose was rapping about that shit on Balloon Mind State. He was rapping about getting fucked over by labels and all this shit, and it's just crazy all that shit came to fruition. But anyway, man, it's still a happy day for us that to be able to, De La fans, to be able to celebrate it in that way, and remember Dave's legacy and celebrate it. But I was just walking to work listening to it yesterday, just thankful and just thinking about being in the city they were in when they were making all this shit. So all right, let's get into it. So basically, the feedback show is when you guys have things to say, and then we come through and we talk about what you had to say, right? So if you left us a comment on a website, if you voted in a poll, if you left us a 5-star review, we didn't get any voicemails this week, but all this contact information is in the show notes. So if you choose to leave feedback that way, that is the way we engage with it. We thank you for taking the time out to do that, because we know you didn't have to. And so this show is kind of low-key all about y'all. It's all about us, but it's also low-key all about y'all. And I do want to shout out to people that took the time out on the front page of our website. You can look on the right hand side and you can give us money. You can give it one time, recurring times, whatever you want to do.
Or it's on your phone, or it's on your phone sideways, because for some reason some phones don't show it right.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's Own Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tied to the Black Tiger Tips.
That's right. It is a new day, which means it is new pay. Let's talk about it. Dot Street J, recurrent donator. Thank you Preston from the Slang of Ages podcast, recurring donator Tanisha G, Celeste VB, Mariano, Adam S, Tyrone M, Jason F. We got Dorothea S, Stefan H. We got Jonathan H, no relation, okay. Brian B hooked us up. Michael F, Corey B, Deborah O, Jasmine A, Jeff M, Mary H, Michael Irvin, the playmaker, Waste Bees Basura, Allison H, Early Daisy Photography, Mako H, Michael W. Whew, a lot of money coming in. Okay, we love to see it. J Full, Marvin B. Yes, Marvin B. Nicole F. We got Asia D, and lastly, Chriselle B. Thank you, everybody who has given us money this week. Your tithes are making sure that the choir is gonna get to go out on the road and perform. And if it wasn't for y'all, they would have to do everything here with this hot air conditioning. So
come on,
y'all.
They got new robes and everything. Shout out to y'all.
All right. 5-star reviews. We got one new one, I believe.
Yeah.
It might be two. I'm read two, but I think it's just one new one.
No problem.
Like a good neighbor, TBGWT is there. This is from KB2982. Karen and I are a go-to during my week, whether it's a rant, an interesting take on current events, or a series of puns gone wrong. They always give me what I need to make my commute on a quiet day go by fast. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
No, thank you. Puns gone wrong. That's 100% B.
Stenna says, give them all the stars, 5 stars. Rod and Karen, I love y'all. I've been listening for years on different platforms, and I don't know why I never left a review. This is my favorite podcast, and I appreciate the time you take to share yourselves with us. Thank you for creating a show that has brought so many laughs, educational moments, and different perspectives on every damn thing. Your love and support for each other is so beautiful. Keep doing what you do. We will. I shall proceed and continue
to rock the mic. Thank you.
Thank you for the 5-star reviews, everybody. It always makes us feel lovely. Okay, it's an easy way to share with the show. And some lovely. But yeah, it's an easy way to put in on the show. It takes a little bit of time, doesn't cost you any money. But you know, and you don't even have to have an iPhone to do it. So just looking us up, leaving us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. It's an easy way to our hearts. Now let's get into the show comments. But first, a musical interlude. Okay, you know, we gotta put breaks in here for commercials. All right. Comments on the website. Let's talk about them. We got 7 comments on our last feedback show. Ooh, so maybe this shit won't be.
I'm about to say, what was he talking about? Y'all had something to say.
Appia says pierogi are Polish dumplings. About side effects of drugs. If you are strict about side effects of food, for example, of beverages, as we are with drugs, the list were also long. I have even to report events that are timely related to taking of our drug, like that someone was killed by a bus after taking it. In my company, it's not only side effects I have to report, it's called adverse events, and practically it's everything bad that happens after taking the drug, everything unusual the patient reports. I wonder if it counts good stuff. Like if you go, I took this drug and coincidentally I got my dick sucked afterwards. Do they go, oh, that could be a side effect?
I don't know if they put that in the win column or the
I'm just saying
neutral column. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
You know,
my hair grew 2 inches. I mean, that's important, accurate information to know.
may cause, penis sucking. Just look it up.
may, may cause facial hair. This is something we need to know.
In case that might be somehow related, and if we don't do it and it's found out, it's very bad. They can't fire you in Germany so easily, but you can get an official warning, and the second offense is one you can get fired for. So if I read the paper with side effects for a drug, I only pay attention to the often and maybe sometimes categories. The rare categories can pertain practically everything. She also says sauerkraut is German and Polish. The Polish name is Kaputsa Kisona. A Dernold is the typical dress you see at anything German Oktoberfest related, with the deep cleavage and breast way up. Oh yeah, I know those. That's all. You should have said titty dress. That's all. We all know the titty dress. Avia also says, I'm sorry that I have to comment one more time about the letter saying that people who voted Republican deserve environmental consequences. Obviously, you are right that also those who didn't get the negative consequences, those who didn't vote for the Republicans, get the negative consequences. And in your system of America, it's possible it's the other 49.9% of people there and all the children who are too young to vote. It's time. It's like me from the outside saying Americans deserve Trump because they voted for him. But it's also something else. It's about the illusions of control. The letter writer thinks it couldn't happen to me because I do the right thing and others didn't. It's the same thought as asking a woman who was sexually assaulted what she was wearing, because if I wear baggy clothes, it can't happen to me. They think, well, wrong. I agree. And I think also it's even worse in America. It doesn't even have to be 49.9%. You can actually have a majority of people that are Democrat in some places, and because of the way voting is rigged against those people, they can still lose. And so it's even less of a flex to be like, oh, y'all voted for him, y'all deserve that. It's like many of us did not or were not allowed to vote, or
vote suppressed or stolen.
Yeah, exactly. Ronan Raphael says, I just remember watching a Power Team video on Dom's podcast and having a good laugh. My elder sister ran a Bible school every Sunday back during my Benin City days, and I had no choice but to attend. We had a skinnier version of that amongst the Nigerians with no drugs messaging. Yes, a few were in the closet, as I found out when I became an adult. Ours was more focused on reading the Bible and singing white people Christian songs, along with movies about the end of times. Should have happened by now, according to the movies. Yeah, man.
Ain't that amazing how now is the future for a lot of those movies? In the year 2023.
One of the things is interesting there. I haven't finished. I just barely started it. But there's a new documentary on Netflix about these Korean people that were religious people that started a very sexually abusive sect of whatever this religion is. And they showed the cross, and I was like, man, it's crazy. Christianity is an export, even in cultures where it took foothold through imperialism, trading, all this stuff. It's very dangerous. And to hear somebody go, hey, I grew up in Nigeria, and this Power Team type of shit with the Christian Mexican messaging was all up in our shit too. It's like, man, that Christianity is a powerful fucking weapon to do to people and just rife for abuse. It's just crazy.
Yeah, because I think for a lot of people, they're looking for something. And this fills with that hole, or they think it fills that hole, or it's an illusion of filling that hole that they're looking for to make them whole, when a lot of times in a lot of situations, it's not going to make you whole. It's deeper running issues that need to be addressed.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking about it not on a people looking for a whole individual level. I'm looking at it on like a sociological civilization level. Like it's almost like a virus or something, like, because within its structure, it is rife for abuse. It is have faith, don't question anything, listen to authority, do as I say, or you will suffer unknown consequences, or go to hell, whatever. And not even consequences we can prove, really. It's consequences that are, if you believe in the consequences, and the fact that so many people were using it. And as soon as I seen the cross, I was like, yeah, people was getting sexually assaulted, people was taking their money. I guarantee you, I haven't even finished the document, I'm 5 minutes in, and I guarantee you that's still gonna be the story, because that's what happens. And to see it happen in another country, because I'm used to, I'm an American, I'm here, I'm used to the influence of Christianity on America, whether it's politically, societally, whatever. So seeing that shit in another language in another country, I'm just like, bro, this shit is insidious.
For a
So
lot of people, the scam is the same across the board, no matter
yeah,
what
it's
language
just,
you speak.
there's just no checks and balances within a religion, really.
Right.
There just
Any
aren't,
religion,
you
right.
know. Anyway, I thought, although I voted no, I like the claim that skinny dudes always telling us not to do drugs, but couldn't say what the drugs were. It's my power team, power skinny team. I don't feel like it's not the
Skinny
same if
team.
they. I feel like it's not the same unless they was ripping them phone books. So unless
That's
them
how you know
skinny
it's
dudes,
legit.
unless them skinny dudes was ripping up the white pages or some shit, I'm not counting that as power team. You had a bootleg power team, dog.
Yeah, well, over here they ripping them yellow pages.
Ronan Raphael says, I might just move on to Florida and run for governor. I promise to bring back to our schools gluten-free, animal-free, diversity embracing power teams. Gang. Aha. Sean says, since you mentioned the idea of Cocaine Bear sequel LSD Fox, I have been looking for an article I read about foxes eating morning glories and tripping out in someone's garden. Morning glories contain LSA, which is similar to LSD, but provides a softer trip. Unfortunately, I can't find the article and I have to get back to work. Thanks for the great show. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The last one's from Sandler Agnew. It's a bit longer. He says, you think in 2023 would be better at overcoming the insecurities that haunt us as black people, be it food, movies, wine by Snoop Dogg. Yes, white people are going to white, but we as a community got to rise above that shit and stop giving into our perverted perceptions of us. It's honestly ridiculous at this point, because the lack of consistency is annoying to me. Look no further than Big Groove. I don't really care much for Big Groove, but he ain't hurting nobody. Man, busting a move like Eddie Gordo on Tekken 3 and we shook. It's crazy to me. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
honestly like, go ahead. I'm sorry, Karen.
No, I said same. I said I agree
Oh
with
yeah,
what they're
because
saying.
I was I was honestly a little surprised by just how visceral the reaction was. Like,
Yes.
I get the whole having a reaction. I mean, that's what his videos are supposed to make you do, but it just kept escalating to this like conversation about blackness that I was just like, I don't know. I feel like everybody fell in a trick bag. Like everybody fell for that shit. He's not important, number one, but number two, you need to examine why this motherfucker can make 700 videos and three of the videos make him a caricature of blackness forever to you. Like it's interesting that, like to me, yeah, it's just interesting to me. I won't go through it again. We've hashed it out. I haven't bothered to look up his past videos since ultimately I don't really care that much. What I do care about and will never be bothered till the end time is our wild swings of the what's traumatic and what's not. He ain't hurting anyone. He hasn't shat on black people, but we're uncomfortable by his size moves, eating watermelon, calling him a minstrel or a coon. Context be damned of the full meaning of those words. Sounds like a ton of you problems to me. Lots of negative projection on a guy regardless of your tolerance being his best self. Is it black boy / man joy, or is that only reserved for those we like or tolerate? And motherfuckers never want to answer that when it comes to black shit. And to another extent, insecurities about weight, because it means he, she, or they may have internalized, undealt with insecurity they haven't properly dealt with. Yeah. Yeah, I talked to somebody a little bit about it on social media. I think I brought it up on the show, but part of it was his tweet. Not, I didn't interject this or imply this, or this wasn't a I'm inferring that you're uncomfortable. It was the exact words of the tweet where these words are in there, and it was like something to the effect of he's too big and dark skinned to be doing it. And I was like, how is that not saying something about you? You know what I'm saying? Like, if he was a light-skinned woman, it would be fine. If he was biracial, if he wasn't as big, like, it was very much like he know what he doing, being big and dancing. And I was like, but I've seen so many videos of y'all celebrating that because it's like against black, like toxic masculinity. It's like, why can't black? I mean, people been circulating these, Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan hugging
Mm-hmm.
all over the internet this week because it is like we don't get to ever see black men do this. And with this dude, I mean, he's smiling, dancing. He look like one of the like people that hold up a cheerleader to me. Like, you
Yes.
know what I'm talking about? He looked like one
Mm-hmm.
of them to me. Like just a like a big
Be at the bottom
strong
of the
dude.
pyramid.
Yeah, a big strong dude, but the energy is very like non-aggressive. So like I said, I get the annoyance or whatever because I think he's making cringe content on purpose. But yeah, I just think it went a little too far. That's all.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with this. And it's like I said, I feel the same way about this. I feel the same way about chicken and watermelon. It's just certain things that it just ticks a nerve in me because
Mhm.
when I get to asking questions, nobody can really answer the questions of why do you feel like this. It's all everything is in my mind when I'm talking to people, everything is a projection to me. And then I go, well, then what does what you're saying have to do with this? Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then they can't never make that connection. But then these are internal things that are happening within you, and this struck something or this triggered something in you, which caused you to respond like this. But the thing that happened, absolutely positively has nothing to do with this. Chicken and watermelon ain't got a motherfucking thing to do with all these people complaining. They're complaining because the truth be told, when I ask, within we don't within you would rather him not exist. You'd rather no black boy joy unless it's black boy joy that's pre-approved and went through you. That's stupid. That's silly. It's and everybody has their rules and regulations on these things, and they think that their rules and regulations are for all blackness, and it's not. And then people like me going, well, this is stupid. They act like something wrong with us for going, yeah, I should be able to have chicken and watermelon in February and the whole fucking, everything shouldn't burn down. When people go, well, we should have it every month. You're right. You're right. But let's work in the constraints of what we have, which is February. So we're not, so it's like you're trying to make a broader conversation, which is not what we're talking about. And so, it's one of those things like when you get down to the bottom of it, it's like it's everything but what we're really talking about. So the problem is not the issue at the hand. A lot of times the problem is people projecting.
yeah. I think Bossy just made such a great point. We were texting each other and stuff, and she was like, if he was going around making videos beating people up or something or threatening people or something, or the joke was, I'm a big black scary man, and then ha ha ha, look at me do such and such, people would eat that content up. And it should, like I said, a lot of stuff are things that we don't really want to examine because it ain't gonna go to a good place. I said the same thing about the Michael B. Jordan corny story, where it's like we don't want to examine why we think somebody is corny or what we think makes a man corny. If we really come down to it, it's gonna end up being like some shit that we're like, we espouse these virtues in certain instances, but when we see them in practice, we actually do not think they're cool. But anyway,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Right. Oh, I'm about to say right, and like I say, and the thing is, these things that trigger people and these things that bother people, these come from a very valid place, And I think when you talk to people, it makes people feel like you're trying to say what they feel is not valid. It's not that. It's just we're talking about apples and oranges, and you trying to make me sound like I'm a lunatic because we're talking apples and oranges, and you don't want to admit that we're not actually talking about the same thing. You want to take this thing that triggers you and bring it over here into my conversation, and they're not the same conversations. It's like you say, macro or micro. We're having two different conversations here, and people want to act like they're having the same conversations, but they're not.
Yeah, I just think there's just a lack of introspection. As Sailor Agnew said, it just what, and I think people are scared to look at what's inside of them because they're like, what am I gonna find? Like, am I gonna find that I'm not, perfectly presenting all my politics all the time? Am I gonna find that I say shit that I'm not really comfortable with? Like, a story I was thinking about a lot this week because it's starting to reframe this story. And remember the story about the white police officer woman who fucked all these dudes on the force, many of them people of color.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole force got in trouble for it. It was like a sexual scandal and shit. Well, now she's, and even though we read that article, we read about her husband trying to get her to stop and she wouldn't stop. And then she tried to spring a surprise threesome on him and all this stuff. Well, now she's reframing it as saying, like, no, no, no. What happened was I was coerced sexually by these men who groomed me and turned me into like their sex puppet or whatever, um, who knows what's true? Maybe the details of the first article were wrong. Misogyny is rampant. It could be anything.
And that's true.
But what it made me think about is this. Because and also she's a white woman, so she could be running to the white woman victimhood. It's like at the end of every snap, they like, he actually beat me, and it's like, okay, well, as a defense, we know that a white woman saying she was abused is, one of the best defenses in America. So maybe you might slide out on that one, even though we don't really have proof that
Correct.
the things you're saying happen. Like
Right.
with all the text messages and all the shit all the evidence they had on them using their fucking company phones, you would think that would have come up before, that somehow
Agreed.
she was coerced or forced. But maybe we'll see. This is what a court case is for. You go in there, you
Right.
defense force for best defense forward. Here's the thing though. When that story came out, nobody was like, good for her. She's sexually free. Hoe is life. Like it was nothing like that. Like everybody kind of showed their cards and either thinking A, it's horrible, B, is nasty. What, like, it was a lot of like shaming of her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even really trying to come at people for shaming her. If that's what the fuck you felt, what do I mean, it was a wild situation for a reason, made the paper for a reason. Don't happen every day. But it was interesting because, like, I feel like at those times, those are the times where people are the most real, when they have that immediate reaction to something like that.
Then I'd have to go back and
And
rewrite it.
she wasn't anybody's hero. Like we weren't like, look at her being sexually empowered. You know what I mean? We were like, what's wrong with her? You know what I'm saying? So
no, your coworkers, like, come on, dog.
So like I said, it's something. I think that's my point. My larger point being, that's why we don't like to examine internalized shit, because we would have to look at ourselves and be like, so do we really believe like sexual freedom and liberty and it's empowering? Or did we all go, damn, she let all those men fuck her, and then it turned into like a negative look towards her
Mm-hmm.
and the situation, rather than like, well, look, if that's what she want to do, there were a few people like that, but it wasn't a groundswell of people. It was mostly people like laughing about the jokes and stuff, or making her the butt of the joke. There were pictures of her going around, videos and stuff. So like, yeah, it made me think back to that. Anyway, he goes on. For lack of a better word, I abhor the lack of introspection. People talk about wanting to be expressive and open until they can't deal with it, due to people feeling bad. How else are we going to get over this shit? You need to feel, truly empathize, and let this big nigga party. I hate how we treat this shit. Projecting your disdain on that man says a lot about you, and you need to fix it ASAP. Undealt with trauma is bad for everyone. It's why I don't really believe people when they want all this content for blackness, fat people, violence, because the line moves too damn much, and you have to listen to the cries of people feeling emotions they're compromised by. Getting rid of it makes you no different than those racist white people who want to get rid of Black history statewide, not just my
Say
state
that
of Florida. You're carrying water to not deal with the problem, thus putting the pressure on Big Groove, for example. It's fucked up. Now you don't have to like him, but let him be. Let him be the embodiment of all that BS sloganeering that Twitter does, or wallow in being fake offended so I can ignore your ass too. Yeah, I think also like with the Big Groove thing, I just have been like ignoring him for a long time.
Me
And
too.
then but then Facebook Reels, I watched like one or two of his videos, and of course it starts showing me all his videos.
Mm-hmm.
So I've literally seen dozens of this man's videos, and he just does extra shit. It's not racialized, it's not racially categorized. Like, it's not like race isn't his stick, if you know what I'm saying. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not him going, let me talk to y'all about race. I don't even think I've really heard this man talk really like in depth about anything. I think he's just for lack of a better term, just a meathead that wants some fucking attention. And he's willing to do a lot of shit for that attention that I obviously would not. But yeah, I think he could end up being a dude that's anti-black and saying and doing shit that I find to be fucked up.
It'll
I
come out.
never will. Yeah, I'm not caping for the guy, but I just don't think people have made that case yet. I feel like they've been
Right.
circulating the same 3 pictures on purpose and ignoring the hundreds of other shits that he did, so that I will stop thinking. When you get mad, when someone tells you to be offended, you stop thinking.
Mhm.
There's an article going around right now. Chris Rock is doing a live Netflix show tonight, his first comedy special since being slapped by Will Smith on stage. And I've already seen this article floating around, and I shared it because I thought it was ridiculous. And I shared it with the comment to point out it being ridiculous. But the title went something to the effect of people are something like outraged, or people are pushing back on Chris Rock for saying that he watched Emancipation so he could see Will Smith get beat. And I said, you mean doing stand-up?
Doing
You
stand
mean
up, my
Chris
nigga.
Rock? You mean Chris Rock made a stand-up joke about something that happened to him? Nigga, that's what the fuck he do. That's like you taking 1 minute of this podcast, one clip, and being like, that's like you taking the guesses from Guess the Race and being like, Rod and Karen encourage racism and with their show and da da da. And it's like, sure, if you want to take 13 seconds and just tell the world that's all we do, there are people that would jump all over that headline and be like, look at these motherfuckers. That's why I never liked them. This is what's wrong with podcasts. Take all the podcast mics out of the hood. Because
you niggas don't deserve mics.
Because context don't matter to people when they get mad. If they can get mad fast enough. You presented a punchline to a joke like he literally was sitting at a TED Talk saying that shit to an audience full of serious-minded people. People are laughing at it. The context is that it's stand-up. You can't divorce it from that context just so you can be outraged. But I saw people sharing it and being like, see, this is what got them hit and all this shit. And I'm like, y'all are fucking idiots. Y'all are legitimately fucking idiots. Take your favorite stand-up if you have one, because most of y'all are humorless fucks. But take your favorite stand-up, and there's something somewhere within that set you can take out of context and be like, oh my God, so-and-so hates so-and-so. And you're like, dog, it's a joke. That's the fucking context. So, but it works. People share it. People make long things about them, not about the topic at hand, and you end up here.
I agree, and it's something that I feel, and I will continue to say this, and I think you may even have said it. People weaponize your anger against you, and you have to be aware of that. And the reason why we keep going down these same rabbit holes is people reading articles across social media and people constantly enraged because they use something that's a real legit thing to be angry about, and they use it against you. And this goes back to the critical thinking, reading shit in context, actually going to the source and looking at shit that they've done before to be like, oh, you're just posting to get an emotion out of me. No, people read it and they just immediately get angry. And a lot of times, not trying to be funny, these titles are for clickbait. Because you've even read titles and you read what's in the article, you're like, this article, like, the fuck, y'all, like, y'all should have actually worded this better. But if y'all would have worded it better, people wouldn't have got mad, people wouldn't have got angry, people wouldn't have shared and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like
people did it with the pandemic. Like major news outlets were reporting shit like more vaccinated people dying than unvaccinated from COVID now. And you're like, oh, so the average person reading that headline is gonna think, so then I don't need to get vaccinated. It don't work and it don't matter. And a lot of people ain't get their boosters and shit because of that logic. I guarantee you, it works on people because they don't read the whole thing. And you go read the whole thing, and it's like, oh yeah, if you get your updated booster shots, you are 60% less likely to get sick, and you're X amount of percentage less likely to get long COVID, and it works because this and this. And yet the title is not even trying to get you to understand that. It's just trying to get you to share the article and go, see, I told you. And that's what happens with a lot of this shit. And I think people, it's not just the media, it's also people who share Big Groove eating a slice of watermelon, but never the other hundreds. I've seen the videos of this nigga eating big at burritos, sandwiches. He like, it's his gimmick is he call it the big bite. And so he's Big Groove. He takes the big bite. So he goes to places at restaurants and he fucking orders a meal, whatever they popular meal is, and he's like, here we go, the big bite. And he take a big ass bite and he starts shimmying his shoulders and shit in the camera. And yet niggas have shared the goddamn watermelon one a billion times and said this is all he does. And you're like, there's a bunch of other ones. Sorry, I'm not gonna. This to me is the same as taking the Chris Rock joke and trying to make me be mad at it. It's just, and maybe I'm too cynical at this point. Maybe I'm too hesitant to join the crowd, but I'd rather be too hesitant than I can always get mad later. I can always be last.
It's okay to be last.
I've never been harmed by being the first motherfucker to go negative. To be the last person to go negative. I'm fine with it. So anyway, finishing this up, he says, I'm with y'all about this and I'm just tired of people doing this shit with a guy like that, or food like watermelon or chicken. Just enough. Go to therapy, take a breath, something. We spent years, centuries to be our authentic selves and put that away due to those who can't deal with Big Groove. Hate to say it, go fuck yourself, do better and be yourself. Peace. Another great thing too here is so many people say they're unapologetically black and they're this, that, and the other, but they're still afraid, because at the end of the day, if you're like, man, I don't want to eat this watermelon in front of people, you're still afraid. What does this say about me? And what does it say about black people in general? He's setting us back. You're still afraid because you're not really being yourself. You're still mostly concerned with how white people are viewing you through viewing another black person. This is, I think there's a difference, obviously, between thinking someone's personal actions are something you wouldn't fuck with. But once we've I think John Morant pulling out a gun on Instagram Live is stupid. What I don't think is he's somehow a reflection. Let that sink in. But what I don't think is it's a reflection on me as a black person that John Morant did something stupid. That has nothing to do with me.
Because there's nothing else to do, Sal. He must have did this after the show.
He did. The poll, did your school ever get visited by the power team? Yes, no, or who? 14% yes, 33% no, and 53% have never even heard of power team. So I count them as no's as well.
Right.
Sorry. We see if we got any comments. No comments on this one on YouTube. And let me check Anchor to see what happened there. I think they brought the Q&A back after not having it for a while.
Let's go.
But it wasn't back for this episode. I had to figure out how to get it back in there. They fucked with something. I gotta figure it out, guys.
Somebody made a mistake or they refreshed. I'm glad they brought it back. I like our comments.
The poll here: 10% yes for the power team, 29% no, and 61% have never heard of them. All right, that's it for this episode. Pico de Gallo Jenkins, episode 2677. I don't think I said the title earlier. The last episode of the week was Clean Getaway, episode 2678. Who do we appreciate? Appia says, Karen, you are funny and interesting, and other guys can be thankful that you are on their podcast as a guest.
Oh,
I think
thank
we need
you.
3 guys on. She also says, when you say they allow you to be the way you are, I want to scream, they better if they know us good. Ramsey D. Jenkins says, 5 stars because I love us. I say hell no to long distance kissing devices. Karen, I love your humor, period. And Carl Crawford, whatever, nigga. Sean says, Karen be knowing and Karen be funny. I love how Karen pointed out all the aspects of comedy she learned from professional comedians. I used to teach a course on comedy and political satire, and being good at comedy is serious business. That being said, I've been with y'all a while, and while Karen has always been funny, she has really developed her on-air delivery and content organization to make it more comedic. Ryder's always done a great job as a straight man, but when he switches to funny man, he could pull that off too. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Sean.
He does play my straight man. A lot of times he play my straight man because we both can't be back here yucking it up. The car would crash, so he got to be the straight man to keep the car on the road.
Yeah, with Justin too.
Because
Um,
then it's versus to us.
the poll is: would you use the long distance kissing device? Yes, just to kiss. Yes, for more than kissing, or
Oh
no.
shit. No.
No, 87% say no. If Karen says no, I guess I have to say no as well. I mean, who else am I long distance kiss with, guys? Um, ladies, hit up my DMs if you into some long distance electronic kissing.
Not the electronic kissing.
Like, is that cheating?
Hook
Can
up,
you get?
baby.
Is that cheating if you do electronic long distance kissing with more than one person? I feel like these devices have to come in pairs that can only work with each other. Because if you, is that you or me?
That's me. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, unprofessional.
It
Loose
is
cannon.
unprofessional.
Loose cannon, Sean. Yes, I just wonder if it's a thing where like I buy a long distance kissing device and it's just for me, but then I connect it to yours over the internet, or if it's like you buy two of them, and what happens if you're in a throuple? Can you buy three? I have a lot of questions. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I have a well, it's I guess sanitary. Ain't nobody but you using it, and it cuts down on STDs.
Can you use it platonically? Like if I have a friend, I just want
Hmm.
to kiss him on the cheek. I don't know. This is a lot of questions, guys.
I just take the phone
Um,
and let the phone kiss him.
Yeah, if you want to kiss him on the cheek, what if it's your child? You just want to kiss him goodnight. You see what I'm saying? It don't have to be sexual.
Mm-mm.
There's a lot of uses for this device, and now I have nothing but questions. But anyway, the poll 7% yes, 7% yes for more than kissing, 7% for just to kiss, and 87% for just no. They not with it. And when you look at the poll on the website on Anchor, yes, just to kiss 8%, more than kissing 14%, because that's where the freaks at. Okay, they got the money, and
They was like, I get the
78%.
5.
Yeah, 78% say no. Let's see comments on YouTube. Hey guys, I love the show, and you all have me laughing in harmony. My mom says thanks for a great show. You two are professionals. Laughing emoji. Thank you, mom.
Uh-huh.
Jen says, okay, Rod, hype your bestie up. Okay, Rod, hype your bestie up. Your dynamic as a podcast duo is what makes your podcast great. Also, Karen, continue to grow your confidence. You are who you are, but you are humble enough to want to grow and learn from those more experienced. That's what makes you great. Thank you.
Oh yeah, honey. I don't ever walk into a room going, I know everything. What the fuck you here for then? And I don't want to be the smartest person in the room because there's always room to grow. If you're the smartest person in the room, you need to look around and get you and reevaluate your friends.
And then comments for the Q&A on Spotify/Anchor. Kissing is a gateway drug, is what I said in the comments in the Q&A, and we got some answers here. Adabola says the corny convo made me think of people calling Russell Wilson a square. Both MBJ and Russell Wilson seem to be regular, dare I say, good guys. I haven't heard them being wrapped up in any negativity. I could be wrong, but shrug emoji. Yeah, I think what's interesting is like people want it both ways. They be like, I mean, what's wrong? I'm not even saying there's anything wrong with being corny. Why are we acting like it's such a bad thing to be corny? And I'm like, because we use it derogatory. Like we use it as derogative. If we didn't use it that way as an insult, then you're right. It wouldn't be a bad thing. But it's
Right.
it's like it's the thing we're always trying to avoid with stigmas and stuff, where people keep trying to change words out of every 4 years is a new
Changing
word
the
for like
meanings. Right.
every 4 years you got a new word to call somebody like fat. Like, oh no, we calling them plus size. We doing this. Because we just trying to run.
I said, because at the end of the day, it's still gonna go back to its foundational roots, no matter what you call it.
We're just trying to run from the stigma, and
Okay.
it's just you try to but you can't outrun someone's internalized like, I don't like this thing. When I look at this, when I see this, when I hear this, I think negative things. You can't beat it. It's in people, and they're not changing. You know what I mean? So not that I don't want them to change, but they're not changing. They're just we'll call them African American. Well, if you whisper it under your breath when you see one, guess what? You still think it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
If you go, it doesn't matter if you say, we got some niggers that move in the neighborhood, or if you go, we got some African Americans, or you say we got some blacks, or you say we got some colors. The way you're saying it, as in the hush hush, like, oh my God, oh no,
Emotions.
that's the part that and so the language, I get that we think language is gonna fix everything. It's not. I hate to be that cynical. Most of my language changes are just I have a fucking public facing job, and I just don't feel like arguing with niggas. That's
All
the be
right.
the It just saves me time to be like, whatever y'all will let me say that I won't have to fucking do an hour long, like, let me explain. I'll just say it. So what we saying now? Latinx. We'll say that. Okay, y'all don't like that. We going back to Latino and Latina. Hey, I'm right back with you, player. It wasn't my fight in the first place. I'm just trying to keep this shit simple. So,
Right.
corny to me feels like people are lying when they say it's nothing wrong with being corny. Embrace your corny, blah blah. They don't really mean that shit, because then we shit on people for being corny. Now,
Yes,
that
we
being
do.
said, I also would love to hear what exactly it means when somebody's corny, because it's kind of like cool, right? It's a feeling, it's a vibe. It's not really a defined, like, it's not really defined. I've heard people say, embracing your corniness makes you cool. It's whatever. People are obsessed with being cool. A lot of times, what makes people cool is really them being the most following ass motherfuckers in the world. Fashion, style, slang, like everything they do is to try to stay one step behind or in lockstep with the culture of what is cool. It's a lot of work to be cool. And so anyway, all that stuff to say, like, I would love to have that conversation rather than to individualize who's corny and who's not, because I feel like a lot is lost in that conversation and it's very subjective. Nigga got like people, like, yeah, it's a very subjective conversation that I think is just gets into a lot of bullshit. But yeah, Ernest says defund telodildonics. Telodildonics. Hilarious, Ernest. Roger says, hey, we can post again. LOL. A few weeks back, you guys questioned my comment about Bomani being bald, and I should have stated that I'm a gay male who is attracted to bald men. LOL. Sorry for the confusion. Oh, hey, no problem. Hey, listen, I ain't want to assume, player. I don't know. I can't even remember the comment at this point to go back and be like what was said, but sorry if we overreacted or reacted strangely to it. We probably just didn't understand. All right, let's get into the emails, because we didn't get any voicemails this week. But
Okay.
first, the music as a placeholder for how to get this money with these ads. Oh, you know what? Before we do
What's up?
this, I was talking with some coworkers, and we're talking about ads on podcasts, and it's kind of a tangent, but this is like a short show anyway. It's almost over. And I have to say, like, the relationship that people have to podcasting compared to other media, while it is, it might feel more personal, because especially if you do it this way with us as independent people, and you know us through the show, and you know a lot about us through the show,
Right.
but we're still putting on a performance. We're still professionals, and we still need to get paid. This is work.
It ain't free. It's free for
It
you, but
might
not
not
free for
feel
us.
it might not feel like I'm working in you. You might not really even respect how much work it is. Part of the reason it don't look like as much work is because I'm so goddamn good, and Karen is so fucking good at this. We have
Yeah.
put in thousands of hours doing this.
I didn't even think about that. We have, and I didn't realize this. I forgot. I think it was Justin, that somebody pointed it out to me, and I didn't realize it because I'm still being myself when I'm on my mic and things like that. Because who I am is going to always come through. But I think Justin was like, Cameron, you have an on switch. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, it's just an on switch. He was like, yeah, you're still being yourself. He said, but when it's time to record, he said, it's just something that switches. And all of a sudden, it's like, okay, it's time for the show. Let's go. And I was like, oh, I never really thought about that. And everybody has their quote unquote own switch, when they are on the mic. I'm still being myself. Y'all still getting 100% authentic me. But I never really thought about it, like Roger said, as the own switch. And that's and the own switch is more the professional switch.
Well, it's a performance, and we're good at it. We're very fucking good at it. We've done 2,600 of these episodes, many thousands, I'm sure at this point, of guest appearances. At least hundreds of guest appearances. We have thousands of shows behind our paywall.
Yes, we do.
We don't even edit the shows. You hear everything we say. Like I don't go back and cut shit out. This is just how it come out. We host last week on Keith and the Girl. You can ask them. We ain't never, hey, we fucked up. Can you take this out? My bad, man. We knock the shit out of the park every fucking time because we take it serious. That being said, when we do these ads where there's dynamic insertion, which is when you hear like a pre-recorded ad that an algorithm at Spotify or Apple tells them what to put in there. When you hear us live read an ad where there's for like an independent Black business that we normally cut a break on the advertising rate. So whether it's like a, Loot Crate or Bevel, somebody that's a big ass company, and we charge them as much as we can, if I'm being frank. So one of my coworkers was like, well, isn't it kind of like taking advantage of a relationship with the audience when you do like a live read and stuff like that? I was like, I don't think so. And I don't think so for a couple of reasons. The first is it's honestly ridiculous sometimes how much these advertising brands do to make sure that you're not gonna get up here and say some bullshit. And what I mean by that is like Manscaped sent me everything that was in that fucking thing that I read y'all. Everything. Like even the boxers. I got Manscaped boxers around here somewhere because they don't want me to get on the mic and just be like, it's great, but I never even opened the box. So I never did it. Now they don't know for sure. It's not like they come into my house and make sure I got the drawers on. But my point is like they do as much as they can reasonably so that we not just sitting up here lying to y'all, right? But number two, if you recognize the relationship we have with the audience, even listen to the show, we want to make money off of our work. And if I'm like, I'm frank, like some stuff too transparent. Like when I got that influencer gig for pumpkin spice wings at Buffalo Wild, I took y'all with me through that. I was like, this is what happened. This is how I signed the contract. This is why it was fun. Because part of what we're giving you was our lives and our stories and our day-to-day. So I'm like, if I'm doing as much as I can authentically through the show, I don't know, dog. Like, I don't feel like I'm taking advantage of anybody. Like, I'm as straight up as I can be. It's not like I got on here and was like, guys, today's podcast brought to you by OAN, One American News. Like, I'm not doing shit like that. So
no, and my thing is, okay, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
And my thing is this, and it's funny though. People feel like this. Do you feel like this when you're watching commercials on television, when you watch commercials on radio? Like and to me, it's no different. These are businesses. And a lot of times people they don't think of podcasts as a business. They don't really think of all the financial things. And a lot of times people that make those statements don't host podcasts. They don't know what the fuck is all involved. And so it's real easy to quote unquote huff and puff and get annoyed when you actually don't have any investment other than you download a fucking free app and press play and you got it. Like other than that, it means nothing to you. And a lot of times when these podcasts go away because they don't have no money to continue to go, a lot of people will go online and whine and complain about how they disappear. Well, bitch, you can't do it all for free all of the time.
You're saying exactly what I was saying at the table with them, because I was like, this is the thing you have to realize. It's work and you're getting it. And unfortunately, most people will take your shit for free.
Yes.
Like ever since Napster, and probably even before that, but Napster was the thing that changed everything. But ever since Napster, people, if they can take your work for free, they don't give a fuck about you as an artist or a person. You can be destitute. There are so many podcasts on the bottom of the ocean, in the graveyard of the sea, because motherfuckers ain't really wanna support them. Like at the end of the day, like people talk a good game, but you go look on somebody's like Patreon or paywall content and you see like less than 1% of their listeners, go do that. If you want to know how we could like legitimately do this show and never have an ad and never do any of this shit, is if every person that downloads an episode gave us $1 an episode, we'd be fucking rich. That like straight up, we be on some Adam Carolla shit where it's like we y'all would be seeing us on yachts and shit. We would have that much money because we get a lot of downloads and people listen to us every day and all that stuff. I'm not asking for that. I'm not telling people that. This is not even to try to get.
But that's not realistic.
Hold on. This is not a pledge or anything. This what I'm trying to say is like, if that's what it was, people would be fine, and not just us. A lot of podcasts, not everyone, but a lot of podcasts. If they could just, but people don't do that. So you have to have ads, and if the ads are personalized or whatever, you're thinking about it from a purely entitled customer perspective. Okay, but you know who else is a customer of an ad? The advertiser. Now, how does that work? They come to me to give me money to make an ad. So if I can make it personal, if I can, like, one of the people was like, this podcast that does like a lot of production work on their podcast, a lot of editing. They were like, well, they make the ad sound like they use the same tools from editing to do the ad, and it make the sounds and all this stuff. It makes it feel like it's part of the episode. And I said, so they're using their talent to show the advertisers that it's smart to use them for ads because they know how to do it well. I'm like, dog, I said, if you only look at it from your perspective of like, they tricked me, then sure, I guess you can be upset. But if you look at it from their perspective of trying to make money of the skills they've honed over this time, it's a necessary part of the game, or else you just don't have a show. I said, but what people will do all the time is complain about the show that's gone, that they never gave a dime to, that they skipped every ad when it got played through the dynamic insertion, and they'll complain about man, I missed that show. It's like, well, when it was here, you wasn't helping, So I just anyway. So I make jokes out of it when I put these beats in for transitions, and y'all know the ad is coming and stuff, and and I don't, if you skip it, you skip it. I don't care, but just wanted to say, like, because hearing that, it just made me be like, man, it's so frustrating as a creator, because it's like, dog, you don't understand. It's this or don't make it.
Right.
What you want me to do?
You can't have it both ways. And it's one of these things where, for me, and I feel like this, everybody want to get paid for their jobs, but they don't want nobody else to get paid for their job. Like, if you came into work every day with your creativity and they go, well, you know what, do this shit for free, come in here and write all these yuck jokes for free, you'll be like, bitch, you better pay me. Well, then what do you think these people doing? They want to get paid for their work too and their labor too.
Yeah, this is my fucking job, man. Like, when you're watching Game Theory, whether you have to pay for HBO Max or pay for HBO through your thing or whatever, and I get a check every week, there's an implicit agreement, and you don't get to see too many ads and stuff because it's HBO, and the only ads you see is for other HBO shit. There's so much fucking money behind that. I'm not a celebrity who's doing a podcast on the side and just like, it's just for fun, or just, like, it's my living. So it was just fascinating to listen to people say it, because I think that's a very common way of thinking, because they just haven't thought about it from our perspective. They've only thought about it from theirs as a consumer. I remember there's this account that would talk about like black people of color's podcasts and stuff, and they review people's shows, and they say stuff sometimes that I would be like, okay, well, that's not gonna work. Or it'd be like, I don't want any ads. The show needs to be short. It needs to be this. It needs to be that. I was like, that can't work for everybody. Like, and they can't even really work for most shows, because you need backing and a bunch of other shit to be able to do it that way. But my point being, like, I think that at some point they started a podcast, and it was short, and it was no ads, and it is defunct, because you can't do that kind of work forever for nothing. And you can't find a way to make money, because You don't want to mention that you got a t-shirt website because that's an ad. You don't
Yeah.
want to you don't want sponsors because then you got to stop the show and play the sponsors thing, or you got to
Mhm.
read something
People,
out,
you ask
and
for
you done talk
donations and
yourself.
people think you're begging. And it's like, the fuck I'm begging for? You know what? This might cost X amount of dollars. This soundboard costs X amount of dollars. This program costs X amount of dollars. Like, I'm not trying to be fun like this. You know, it's like people go, yo, yeah, just crank up your phone and start a podcast. Okay, cool. Guess what? But I had to pay for that phone. You know, it's shit like that that people don't even really think about or consider. Like I said, people, like I said, you download these free apps, you press play, you listen, and you go, okay, that's all my investment. That's cool. And I'm not knocking that. But all I'm saying is don't complain to people when you get something for free and they want to throw ads and things like that in it, because they have to recoup their costs for their labor somewhere.
Yeah, so it's just I just want to take a second before I get ready to play an ad after I play this song.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just made me think about that, and I just remember being so frustrated that day. And shout out to my man Tommy. He was like, Rod, you just don't give people enough credit. I was like, here's what you're doing right now. You're not giving me enough credit, because I've been doing this for about 15 years.
Right.
In this case, I know what I'm talking about. This ain't a
Yes.
guess.
Mm-mm.
If people can get shit for free, they will. Your favorite musician, they'll steal their album. Your favorite, like, it's like when you listen to a musician and they're like, yeah, I really can't make money off my music anymore. I have to, after Napster, I have to basically try to get it off of touring, and that's hard because, and you just be, I think you don't believe in people. It's like, nigga, I've been in the game 30 years. I know what people gonna do. I believe in them more than you because I know what they'll do. I believe they gonna do what they been doing.
Yeah.
So, it, like, this ain't a GoFundMe, it's a product exchange. I'm entertaining you and you giving me money for entertaining you. You're clicking, you're listening, you're willing to listen to 30 seconds of an ad because I'm giving you 2 hours of shit that you think is pretty cool, or whatever percentage you think is cool. That's what it's about, and that's fine.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And truth be told, the only reason why a lot of the streaming services make the money that they do, because of convenience. It's more convenient for people just to pay a fee to get umpteen unlimited amount of music than for me to go the other route. You know, if the other route was easier, people would do it for free. But if you got people like me going, I'm not learning that shit. Here's my $9.99 a month.
Right.
That's what happens. Like, people
Mhm.
wonder why people do this, because people are lazy and they don't want to go through all the hassle that it actually takes to get the shit for free.
All right. Email time. I was doing the taxes for the show the other day for our business, and let me tell you something, guys. Shit ain't free. All right, let's get to these emails.
Mm.
It's Crystal writes in. I met her. She came out. I met her. We've met her before, but her and her husband came out to a taping of Game Theory, and I got to talk to them. Oh, and some other fans came out. I had a lot of fun meeting fans. I know it's like Samantha, Gary, Rolanda. I'm forgetting Samantha's husband's name. I'm sorry. But
I think I had a good
yeah, I
time.
took pictures with them. I posted on my Instagram and all that stuff. So shout out to them.
Come up there one more time before the show ends, so I get a photo op.
We outside. My beloveds, Karad and Roger and Karen, Instagram feels like they just saved your life. I was commenting on the pic with Rod, my hubby, and me on at Rod's IG, and IG blocked me because I said it was 2/3 of my life partners. And next time you came up, I was going to kidnap you so we could be black aunties and pass the peas like we used to. Shout out to Martin. IG basically called me a stalker and blocked my post. Damn,
Oh no!
You okay?
It said too much of you.
But I loved your Renaissance Tickets origin story. I virtually high-fived you. Hope you felt it. Grown black women fit into a cut all the way up this summer in 2023. Hashtag grown woman summer. Hashtag Renaissance summer. Hashtag hot flash summer. My offspring said I'm acting all giddy like a teenager over Beyonce. Okay, Zoomer. God wanted me to see Beyonce. I never saw her ever, but I've seen Jigga Man at least 3 times in concert. He's good. But anyways, I got the notification that she was going on tour and proceeded to gallop around the 2-story office warehouse at work proclaiming horse, 2 horse emojis, look like a siren emoji, 2 horse emojis. Beyonce is coming. Beyonce is coming. I like the good La Pauletta Revere. I am, which might be reason number 27464, why my very young, newish black lady boss thinks I'm a coon. Anyway, I caught my Fabu cousin Jessica IG post about it, and we got to plotting. Jess is good for doing things, so I knew I wouldn't have to go back and forth with money and time and everything. So I got the notification for the pre-sale for New Jersey and New York, but my COVID hero pay didn't come in, and I didn't get a code. So I like, well, now the ticket's $1 million. I guess I can't go. But after the Super Bowl, I got the notification that I got the pre-sale code for Boston, but still was like, I ain't got it. But on the day after, when the tickets went on sale, I was driving, listening to Pop Roast. They were talking about how they got tickets. I arrived at home, looked at the text with the code. That thing said tickets went on sale 2 p.m. that day. Guess what time it was when I looked? 2:30. Checked my bank account. My hero pay came in. I didn't freak out and calmly went inside, looked at the tickets on the computer, ding right away saying, go on ahead and get your tickets, girl. The prices weren't crazy. I screenshot the seats. Price to cousin Jess. She got back to me right away. She PayPal me the money, and we got the golden tickets within a half hour. Dog, divine providence. Praise Beezus. This cousin is a deaconess in the Beehive Ministry. She been to 5 shows and counting, so I feel confident we got good seats, and she will inaugurate me into the worship service like a tire. Let me know where to stand, when to stand, sit, turn the page of the hymnals, kneel to the altar, all of that. We put in the time off, and we leaving hubby and kids where they belong at the house. We get in the hotel, getting to eat some good food in Boston. Karen, send me the invite to the group chat so we can brag about going to Club Renaissance. Rod, it was great seeing you do your thing the other week. Proud cousin. 3 crying emojis. I was like, yeah, I'm outside being cool in the city, hobnobbing with famies. Thank you for validating my cool funniness to my husband. I was out here being cool wife, talking to the husband to come shoot some shooty hoop sports ball show and introduce him to a soon-to-be Emmy Award-winning writer. To quote the Bodega Boys, yeah, rest in peace. I see the boo-boo with the blessings come in. The blessings come in. I wanted to go to be cool and go to Drunk Black History, but my house body husband was like, why you like going into the city all the time? Dang, Gina. When I was going to be like, and just go, but I had to be a lame mom and do some chauffeur duties and pick up the offspring from his black POC robotics club at 8 and feed the crew and blah blah blah, be barefoot, not pregnant, be in a hotel's wet or ashy dream. Let me know next time you do cool black people stuff in the city. I'll plot my escape accordingly. Sorry, not sorry for the long email, but it was necessary. Hugs and kisses, Miss Crucible. Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It was a pleasure talking to you again. I'm glad you came out. I know she had talked to us before. She emailed us before last time I was here, and she had said that she wanted to come meet us when you were here, but she got like cold feet or something because her anxiety was kicking in. And so I know it's a big deal to overcome that, to come hang out, because I deal with it too. Our girl Caritha says, Black History Month post. Dear Rod and Karen, I hope this message found you well. I just had to drop a note about Rod's Coon calendar for Black History Month. I wish I was a big dog with a nationally recognized award to bestow, because that series should win an award. Yeah, NAACP ain't gonna like that one. Every single entry was on point, and the entire series pure gold. Thank you. It was harder than people think.
See, I can't imagine.
The problem isn't, so one, I freestyled them all. I didn't have a script. So I just woke up in the morning, picked one from my list, and then I just went in. And then picking the song is also big too, because you want the song to coincide with who you're picking. But it's harder than people think, because there's people that just want everybody to be called a coon.
They want everybody on the list. You're like, no, everybody can't be on the list.
it was important to me to pick people that we wouldn't be sitting around later like, oh man, that person ain't really a coon, Rod. I can't believe you did him like that
Somebody
or
put
her
some
like
work
that.
in.
And so I was like, I wasn't taking a lot of people's suggestions were just terrible to me. You know, it's like, oh, do Susan Rice. I'm like, oh, nigga, what? So now I got to argue with niggas because she's like a Obama appointee and shit, and she ain't really like do no real cooning like that. You want me to take one thing she did and then like roast her forever? No, we need certified Hall of Fame, first ballot, no questions asked. This nigga a coon. If you ain't never heard of him, you need to hear what I say about them and be like, damn, for real, that person is a coon. I can't be making no borderline cases. It can't be like, I just don't like the way he walk. Like, no. Anyway, thank you for appreciating the work. For when I got done, I looked like a Popeyes worker after the chicken sandwich came out. I was just like, whoo, that was
And
hard.
shout out to Uncle Bob, who actually every day he actually had the whole calendar for a month, which is fucking hilarious. I kept up through the calendar.
He was updating the Coonlendar every day. Thank you, Uncle Bob. So few of us can even risk liking it publicly, but that need to be done. What a gift. Thanks for sharing the word with the world. No problem. Yeah, I saw a lot of people quietly, privately loving it. I got y'all be surprised it was in my DMs. Few people rolled up in the DMs like, brother, you doing some good work. All right, I gotta get out of here. Episode 2678.
Don't tell him I came in the room.
Right. Don't tell nobody, but that nigga is a coon. All right, I'm out. Episode 2678, those saxes. Hey, Rod and Karen, it's been a while since I sent in a message for feedback, but I felt the need to comment when I heard that saxophone on that ad for the long distance kissing device. The music was out of place, but what caught my attention that it was a sound clip from the anime Detective Conan, one of the longest running anime in the game. It's a mystery of the week kind of thing. In the show, they have several jazz heavy tracks that they use over and over as background music. For the track they use in this ad, it's usually played when someone is feeling wistful or forlorn, usually in the context of criminal murder, coming clean, realizing they were wrong for doing what they did, about to go to jail. I laughed so hard when I heard it. Not romantic at all. Anyways, love y'all. Hope you both stay healthy and happy. Peace, Gath. Thank you.
Thank you.
And lastly, my man John writes in, very short, nothing in particular. Morning, Rod and Karen. So, Rod, you wouldn't even kill Karen for $9 million? Man, you so corny. I know.
I'm corny too. I wouldn't kill my baby. No.
P.S. Did you see that Merrick Garland is a big fan of Taylor Swift? Oh, how the haters are gonna love that. Well, you know what I'll do? I suggest they just shake it off. But I'm here for this white ally Voltron Garland gang and Swifties unite. Honestly, that's why the Beyonce tickets went smooth, because them fucking Swifties and Merrick Garland, they was like, fuck around and find out. Congrats on the Beyonce tickets. Cheers and stay safe, John. Thanks, John. All right, that's it, everybody. Karen's got to get out of here and go to the movie. And we appreciate, we appreciate everybody, and we'll talk to y'all next time. Until then, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah.